Welcome back, Crime Besties. Here we are for another episode. I feel like this week has gone so quickly and we're here again recording.
Oh, absolutely. I hear you on that. No joke. This week has just disappeared with a blink of an eye.
Yep.
Totally.
I think I said this in last episode that one of my work colleagues and listener of our podcast, she said that as soon as you get into the BER months, it just rolls on. And this week... If this week's anything to go by, she's absolutely right.
I swear to God, it was Friday of last week yesterday.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. I feel like even when I was setting up this morning, I'm like, no. Like it feels like, have I got the day right?
Yeah.
Even Lucas said to me yesterday, he's like, Mum, when I woke up this morning, I had to say to myself, Thursday. And I'm like,
so adorable.
Why? And he's like, because I was very confused what day it was.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh. Here for that, Lucas.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Can you send that message to me each morning? Because I literally am at the moment waking up going, what day is it? It's Monday. No, it's fucking Thursday. Like, you know, it's that bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's so much going on. It's insane. But I think that helps.
I think for me, this week's been really odd because we've only got one last sporting game tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the rest of the sports have stopped for at least 2 or 3, 4 weeks maybe.
I think it's actually, 4
it's
at
like
least.
a while.
If you're not in the
so
finals.
we've got no training, nothing like that, which is so nice.
Oh, it's been so
And then I've
relaxing,
also, my eldest has been at camp this week.
How quiet is your house?
The house is so quiet, but I do really miss him. I can't wait to see him this afternoon.
He'll be so feral.
Oh, feral. Absolutely gross. Absolutely gross.
And the camps stink now that, like, you know, they're like that age.
Yeah.
Like that's now level of, you know, you're gonna stink a bit when you get home.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I remember it must be like a year 7 or year 8 getting in the car after school camp, and we were gone for like a week though. Oh. And we literally camped. Oh. So I remember getting in the car and my mum just going, oh God, the window's down.
Windows down, and you're getting in the shower the second we walk through that door.
Yeah.
Well, at least they have showers at this camp. Whether or not they use them, I don't know.
And for how long?
Yeah, exactly. Just get the bodies wet. But Oliver's very he's very clean and very about I know he'll have a shower every day. He won't be able to not.
No, he's a very clean boy.
And
like
he's
that's
got,
good.
Like, you know, he had to actually, because they weren't allowed to take any kind of spray deodorant, which is fair, I think.
Yes.
Can you imagine the stink of that place if they were allowed to?
Spray going everywhere.
So, and he only has spray, so he had to go up and get himself some deodorant.
Right.
Well, it took him bloody...
the choices.
Honestly, it took him like 10 minutes to choose which scent he might like. Yeah. So I feel like smell-wise he'll probably be semi-okay, but the exhaustion, he's just going to be foul.
Yeah. Oh, the deodorant aisle now with young boys, it's hilarious. I've got, you know, Mason who's like, knows what he wants, just wants the roll on. Like, you know, just it needs to fit the purpose.
Yes.
We need that, and that's
nothing
no smell,
extravagant.
no fragrant, no, you know. Yeah. And then there's Brody who'll stand there for bloody 10, 15, 20 minutes. Oh, I kind of like that one. Just hold that one. I'm gonna check these ones now.
Oh,
and
God.
like, I want to like.
Future.
I need to take a bloody can of coffee with me so we can change out the smell.
Some coffee beans. That's actually not the worst idea. I'm surprised he hasn't asked you to do that.
Oh, God, he would too.
Yeah, he would. He's like, no, I need to choose a new fragrance. Oliver's super into the Lynx Golden Mango, and it actually does smell really nice.
Oh, I can tell you right now that just the fact of the name Golden Mango, Brody be into it entirely.
Yeah.
So he's already on to me saying, when can I start having mango in my lunchbox for, you know, like, maybe when I win Tats Lotto as well.
It's still a bit off before they're $2 a mango. Exactly. Although strawberries are cheap again. Thank God.
Thank God. But he won't eat them in his lunchbox. He'll devour them at home. Okay. If I put them in his lunchbox, do you think he'll fucking eat them?
Oh, come on.
Does my head in that shit? Like where the stuff they eat at home but not in a lunchbox?
Yeah.
I don't understand that one.
Oh, that's annoying. That's really annoying.
Nope.
I sent Lucas to school today with a lunch order, so Subway. It's Subway Fridays.
Well, I wish my kids had ate that, yeah.
Oh, don't get confused. He literally just has ham and cheese in it. That's it.
But it's actually a cheap one, I find. Yeah, compared to the other one that we do at our school, like that can get exy.
Yeah, my kids don't really like the other one because our school doesn't have a canteen.
No.
So they
I don't know if any of them even do anymore.
I don't think many do.
No.
So they have to bring in the food from an external company, and my boys reckon it's gross.
Oh,
like,
I
it's
imagine it'd be cold and no, I can't even. My kids kill for a lunch order.
Yeah,
but it's the same thing every time.
When we were looking at high schools with Oliver,
Yeah.
We went to this particular school and Oliver was like, oh, I'm coming here.
They had a cafeteria?
We walked past, they all have these canteens and they do always take you past the canteen because like that's obviously very important.
For the kids,
yeah, for the kids. And Oliver was like, oh, Mum, they have Japanese curry, butter chicken. Whatever else they had, and he's like, I really want to come here. Yeah, I'm assuming they would. He's like, I really want to come here. I'm like, well, let's just see if this is the right school in other ways.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll see.
I love that's one thing K-pop Demon Hunters has done great for my family is that now Brody will eat ramen noodles like in a cup thing.
Yeah,
because the Huntrix eat those. So
with their name on them, that has got to be a merch grab. Like when are they going to release those? Actually,
they're gonna come out.
They're coming for sure.
Oh, I'll buy them.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm here for it.
It is so good.
I'm fully obsessed.
Peter was telling me the other day that whoever originally was going to buy K-pop Demon Hunters was like, oh, yeah, no, they decided not to. Or they had the rights for it and they sold the rights to it to Netflix for $100 million.
Yeah, right.
And it has just, obviously, it's exploded and it's earned, many multiple times of that for Netflix.
And there's going to be more of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, God, I love it.
Bad decision.
All of the, like the theories of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Are you? I haven't done the deep dive into that yet. But last night, because Ollie was on camp, I said to Lucas, look, we can do something special, the two of us, because Peter was out.
Yeah.
And he's like, can we just have dinner and watch K-pop Demon Hunters in bed? And I'm like, oh, sold.
Yeah.
I am so for that. So for that. So it was really cute.
So I have to watch it and then we get to the soda pop theme and obviously it's like, pause, I need to get my stuff together. And Brody comes out with, he's got to pull out every dance move like in front of the TV. He doesn't look at the screen and he knows every move to that dance
is amazing.
and pulls it out. And I have to record it. And
you haven't sent that one to me yet.
Oh, haven't I?
No.
Oh, lucky you.
I haven't had a soda pop yet.
Oh, and apparently, so they've put together a little Sarjo Brothers group.
Yes.
And you know what Lucas's character is in that?
Is he Baby?
No.
Oh, who is he?
So Brody is Gino.
Yeah.
And Lucas is Abby.
Oh, Abby. Oh,
because he's got the best abs, apparently.
He actually does have amazing abs.
I loved it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, that is perfect.
Oh, that is so funny. I love it. Oh, he didn't tell me that. I knew they'd put it together, but I didn't realise they'd assigned.
Oh, yeah, they'd assigned characters. Oh, there was no question, apparently. Just
right.
No question.
Of course. Oh, that is gorgeous. I love it. All right, let's get on. Enough of that.
I know we could chat for ages.
Go for ages. We have so many shout outs today. So thank you to everybody. We have had a real bumper Instagram comment sort of thing this week.
Yeah.
And I just want to do a really...
I think it's Instagram's taking over because TikTok's just dying at the moment. The algorithm has completely ruined me at the moment.
But I don't know. Far out. You never know when they change the algorithms or how. You just got to keep going with it. But our Instagram has been doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out Ruhl_Lindsay.
Yep.
Who has been commenting, liking so many of our posts. I feel like maybe she just found us and is going through like past,
finding it all.
That we, Love it. Shout out to you, Rue Lindsay, if you are listening. I know you at least follow us on Insta. And then we've had 5 new Patreons this week. So thank you very, very much to Angela, Sarah Worthington, Lisa Battistello, Kira Alinta, and Peter. Thank you for joining us over there on Patreon. We have released our first episode over there and we're just actually after today we're going to have a chat about what our next episode will be. So if you guys have any suggestions, anything you want to hear from us, please let us know because that's your space. We will be guided by you guys there. Please let us know.
Current reviews are very positive.
We've had some very nice feedback. So thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
We've also had some coffees bought for us this week by Leanne Lydon, and I don't know. Leanne Lydon, Samantha Hart, Lisa Marie. So I don't know if Lisa Marie is also the same Lisa who joined the Patreon.
I believe so.
Double thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
That's really kind.
Really kind.
Really, really kind. Thank you. And then our last...
I think she's the one that we're getting her through with her new 3-month-old baby, like that she's listening to us whilst doing all that. And we've been there and we feel it.
We know. Actually, when I had a 3-month-old, that's when I listened to the teacher's pet.
Yeah.
So I get it. In those middle of the night feeds, like what do? You're sitting in darkness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those days. And then to Fiona Wilton, who has sent us the most gorgeous message as well, saying that that basically she was describing her life and how it aligns with our chaotic lives, and she really related to the stuff that we talk about. And then Meg sent her back a message saying, like, you really do sound like our people, just by what she'd written. And she was like, oh my God, I wish I was one of your people. Well, you know what, Fiona? You are.
Join the besties. You're here. Yeah. You're here. We love it.
And thank you for your support. And thank you to everybody who's shared our podcast as well. We know, I can tell by the stats this week that we've actually got a fair few new listeners by the looks of it. So thank you very, very much. And welcome to all of those of you who are new to the besties.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. That's amazing.
All right.
Oh,
this one's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting case. Now, I think before we even get started, we're talking today about the murders of Margaret and Seana Tapp. I think I need to say at the very beginning of this, Andrew Ruhl is the foremost point person on this case. So he's a reporter, a journalist, and his podcast is called Life and Crimes with Andrew Ruhl.
Great podcast.
Brilliant podcast. I just love him. Yeah. But he was actually a police reporter at the time. This murder took place in 1984. He was a police reporter at the time. And he said that he did cover the story, but he said there were 5 that he can find in the archives. There were 5 stories.
Well, I think even when it first happened, he wasn't at a level of writing these articles, that kind of thing.
I think he wrote
in later.
Well, he wrote at the time, he wrote like a little blurb. He said of the things that were written, it wouldn't have even fit a foolscap page over 5 little articles or little appearances. All that
was in the media about it, in newspapers.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the 20-year anniversary of the death of these women, or this woman and child and little girl, that he really became interested in it, and that sort of prompted him to do a much longer form case on it, a report on it. And then this was actually the case was the first thing that he recorded for his Life and Crimes podcast. It wasn't the first one that he put out, but it was the first one that he recorded.
Yes.
And this case really has a real special spot in his heart, I think. So
because it's unsolved, we can say that at this point.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think it's really intrigued him of like, well, why isn't it solved? What's held it back, and can we find something here? So I mean, all props to him, like to really put some attention on it, because it hasn't had the attention it deserves to try and get a result. And surely someone knows something.
Yeah, and I feel like there's not a lot of other media who've even given this the light of day. We can get into that a little bit later why.
Yeah.
But it's really his story, I feel. So please
jump across onto his podcast
onto Life and Crimes after you finish listening to this, obviously. And then really give it a listen, because I just love everything he puts out. He's so good.
He's a really great source of information, and he's so easy to listen to.
And his memory is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. He blows my mind.
I think something I relate to with him and his podcast too is he's a journalist and everything, but he does not. His podcasts don't appear to be scripted. As you say, his memory is amazing. He has absolute genuine knowledge of these crimes and just speaks to them. So his podcast really, I don't know, just really, because that's why we do ours the way we do in terms of like the non-scripted. We really wanted something out there that wasn't as scripted as many others, and that's why we chose to do that. But I relate to him as his non-scripted format too. Like
Agreed.
It's easier to listen to, I find.
Yeah, he's awesome. Here we go. All right, so let's get into it, I guess.
Yeah, let's get in.
So Margaret Christine Nelson was born on the 3rd of June in 1949, And she was born to her mum and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson. I actually can't remember their names off the top of my head. I've got them written down somewhere. We'll get to it. But she was born into a really lovely, loving family. She had a sister and a brother and just grew up in like a very typical 40s, 50s sort of era Australian sort of family.
Yeah.
They were very close and remained close throughout their lives. Margaret met a man by the name of Don Tapp, later in... Actually, I think she was
pretty young.
Quite young when she met him. They fell in love and got married, and they had a son named Justin, who was, I think he was born in 1970.
Yep.
And then they had a little girl named Shawna Lee Tapp, born on the 6th of March in 1975. And they lived in a very comfortable life together. But as time went on, Margaret and Don did split. It was a very amicable split, I believe. And they still kept in very regular contact. The kids had regular contact with Don.
Yeah.
And, it was just sort of their new normal now was this sort of split marriage and that sort of arrangement. But at the time of the murder, so the murders occurred on the 7th of August in 1984.
Yep.
This time of, thinking back to Australia in 1984.
Why are you looking at me like that?
It was before I was born.
What was it?
So,
right.
Why are you looking at me like that? I probably can't comment to it, but would you like to?
Well, I would if I was old enough to remember. I guess I would have been 3. But I mean, having said that, the area that this occurred in is very local to us. I mean, more so probably these days, I guess, than when I was, where we grew up initially. But the area, it's very outer eastern suburbia. It's right at the base of the Dandenongs, Ferntree Gully, and all these sort of scenes that we'll talk about through this. Very picturesque kind of area, I guess, in some ways, at the bottom of the Dandenongs there. Really beautiful. But at the time, it was a growing area. It was a growth area, very much middle class, lower socioeconomic status, kind of area of young families.
It was pushing the outskirts of the city limits as well at that time, I believe. So in terms of development through there, it was, sort of at that outer edge of Melbourne. We're talking about, city limits.
The growth of that area too. I mean, Margaret's parents, the original, all of that area was originally orchards. Mm-hmm. So I remember from where I live, I lived as a kid, that was all even further in was orchards. It was a vast area. And her parents actually are original settlers to the area, and they actually owned orchard farms in the area. So they had been there, generationally. So, they still owned a fairly decent property in the area, but everything had been divvied up on those lands and were now becoming housing estates.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a really growth area. I guess, now we're moving further out again, and you think of a similar sort of area these days would be, I guess, more your sort of Pakenham Cranbourne areas sort of thing. It's further out again, but that's what Ferntree Gully and that area would have been at the time. So
that's
new housing estates and things popping up, and really families making a go of it.
And that's what I was going to say. I think it attracted a lot of young families, people who were just starting to establish themselves. Obviously, it was a bit cheaper to be that bit further out and into these new areas. So, but then having said that, I feel like the Dandenongs was always quite well established.
Yes.
And so there was still a lot going on out there in that respect.
Oh, there were train lines, all that sort of stuff by that stage, and
that's it.
Things like that. It's all all your public transport was sort of sorted, and
was there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, I guess we'll get into actually what happened on the night, and we'll go from there. So, on this particular night, Margaret had agreed or had actually invited a friend of hers, a man by the name of Jim Rowlands, to take her to the opera. Mm-hmm. Now, Margaret was an incredible woman, an absolutely incredible woman. I'll just get into a little bit of a background about her actually before we get into this, because I think this just gives a bit of an idea of who she was.
Who she was, for sure.
So she was a nurse, and she was actually at the time studying law part-time.
At Monash Uni.
At Monash Uni. Her idea was to go into sort of medical malpractice law, because she obviously would then have the experience with the medical side, and then
what a great idea.
Incredible idea.
Yeah.
She was such an intelligent and such a go-getter of a woman. She was learning how to drive semi-trailers because an ex-boyfriend of hers actually, they owned some kind of crop farm in South Australia. And over the summer, she'd offered to go and help them, I don't know, truck their crops to wherever they needed to go.
Yeah.
So she needed to learn how to drive a semi-trailer, semi-trailer. So she was learning that.
Yeah.
She was involved in lots and lots of different sort of like community things, and she had a lot of men interested in her. She was very social, and she was very much like into maybe the dating scene, and
Should have kept her options open.
you go. Well, yes, she did. She did have her eye on one particular man, but we'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, her life was very rich and very full. And then obviously she also had her 2 children who took up a lot of her time. At the time of the murder, though, her son, Justin, was actually living with her parents.
Yeah.
And did you find out why?
No, I didn't. No, I couldn't
same.
find any reason as to why what that decision
I just
had been
wondered
made
whether
for,
it was
but-
like maybe he was closer to their high school or something. I really don't know.
Because they didn't live far away from her. It wasn't
No.
there was a distance thing of like, oh, he wants to particularly be at a particular school or whatever
Yeah.
far away. Not sure. And yeah, I mean, that's a tragic story in itself then,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
So anyway, he wasn't obviously at the home in Kelvin Drive, Ferntree Gully at the time.
Yeah.
But on this particular day, this man by the name of Jim Rollins, he was a carpenter, apparently a very, very lovely man.
Yeah.
Jim and his wife were actually neighbours of Don and Margaret when they were married and lived together. And so that's how
knew her.
how they met. And Don was keen on Margaret, I think.
Oh, you
so
mean
at this-
Jim, sorry.
Oh, Jim, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim. By this stage, Jim's wife had long passed away from cancer, which is very, very sad. But so he decided, I mean, they used to see each other socially. I don't think they were in a relationship by any stretch. I think he might have wanted to,
Yeah.
but I don't think Margaret was really in that frame of mind with him at the time.
But she was, I think, that all props to her. Like that, if someone was offering like, opera tickets and things and to take her out, she wasn't going to go, oh no, I'm not interested, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, sure, let's go. Like
Yeah.
she just
She was that
took every
kind of
opportunity that
person.
came her way, and why
Yeah,
not? Like,
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
So that night she'd actually arranged for Shawna to go to the next door neighbour's house to be babysat
Yeah.
while she went out to the opera, because at this stage Shawna was only 9 years of age. And so Jim knocks on the door at, I think it was like 6:30 or something.
Yeah, in the evening, yeah.
In the evening to pick her up. And there's no answer. Now, Margaret's car was in the driveway. He could see the newspaper was on the front doorstep, and he was like, "Oh, this is really weird," because she was expecting him.
They confirmed it the night before. They literally had a phone call to each other only like 24 hours prior to say this was the arrangement.
Yeah. So what Jim knew is that the back door the lock was actually broken. So he'd been there enough to know this. Something the kids had done something, bloody kids, man. They'd done something to wreck the lock or whatever, and it hadn't been repaired yet. So he went around to the back of the house and sort of knocked again, and then still no answer, let himself in and was calling out. And he went into Margaret's bedroom and he saw her lying on the bed. And he walked over to her and he knew immediately just by looking at her that she was deceased. He then runs out of the house, goes to the next door neighbours because Margaret had said that they were looking after Shawna that night. And he went in there and he was like, is Shawna here? Is Shawna here? And they're like, no, she's not here yet. So he's like, oh, God. And he runs back and he goes into Shawna's room and she's lying deceased in her bed too. So he then runs back. Well, by this stage, the neighbours had kind of followed him in there trying to find out what the hell was going on. They've gone back to the neighbour's house and called 000. The local police attended, and then not very long after that, the homicide squad arrived, and there were 2 detectives that were apparently on their way home who lived out that way, so they weren't actually that far away. So I guess by this stage, they've made a crime scene, and the first thing that is evident to the police is that Margaret and Shawna had both been strangled. And that was kind of the most obvious thing that they could see.
Yeah.
So where are we now? So basically the police then, I mean, it's getting to be a bit later at night. It's really hard to start making inquiries. So they've actually just cordoned off the house.
Yeah.
And I guess they've actually stationed 2 uniformed police officers at the house.
Yeah.
That becomes important a little bit later.
Yes.
So next day comes, obviously they've notified Justin and the family and the mum and dad and Don. They have alibied Justin and the mum and dad straight away, Margaret's mum and dad straight away, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson. And they know they had no involvement. Yeah. Justin went to the crime scene and saw the bodies.
Oh, did he really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's awful.
Horrible. I think he insisted on it.
Yeah,
he wanted to
I can get it. I can get it, but at the same time,
how traumatic.
Yeah.
Poor boy.
Absolutely.
And they've actually also, I believe that night, they've gotten in contact with Don Tapp, he'd actually remarried by this point, and he was alibied and excluded.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's sort of almost at that point with like prime suspect number 1.
Yeah.
In that, just, you know, that's what can happen. But they alibied him very quickly. He was ruled out very quick, and he was apparently very helpful in terms of, you know, didn't hold back anything. Was very open, honest, and they ruled him out very quickly.
Yeah. I guess at this stage, the number 1 suspect was actually Jim.
Well,
the
that's true.
Yes, the opera date, because you know he found the bodies.
Yeah,
But again, I believe they interrogated him that night, and again they questioned him more than once.
Yes.
But again, they got to a point where they were like, "Oh, we're satisfied beyond."
Yeah, they were happy to alibi. They ruled him out very confidently.
That's right. I don't actually know exactly how they did it, but they were able to prove that it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So we've got to now think where the police are at. They're like, okay, we've got these 2 dead bodies. They know that on Shawna's night dress, so on the 9-year-old little girl's night dress, semen was found. Not on Margaret at all. So the bodies have obviously gone for autopsy to determine their manner of death, and they both died by strangulation.
Yeah.
So same manner of death. I guess the police assume at this point that Margaret was probably killed first.
Yes.
Because...
So she couldn't protect Shawna.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Like, that makes logical sense. So to me, that makes me think, well, then this was a child predator.
That to me, the way that was done, and also like, the fact that that's been thought through, of that you're less likely to wake the child than the parent. You know, you like your parent's more on alert on those that sort of thing. That, you know, that you're gonna if you can get rid of the adult, the child's then very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing that I really don't like about the rhetoric in this, and this is not from Andrew Ruhl at all, but he does make comment of it as well, because I feel like it's out there, so it needs to be mentioned. But because Margaret went on dates with men and enjoyed herself socially with men.
And not necessarily single men.
No. But I feel as though she's almost blamed by some people as if she's brought this on herself or something.
There's a real line where it's sort of, I've heard it in numerous places, that the reason this hasn't been solved is because there were too many suspects. I mean, that annoys me, because you compare it to a case, say, off the top of my head, like Claremont murders.
Yeah.
So what, you're willing to like DNA test every cabbie in the entirety of like Perth, you know, to find the killer. But in this scenario, you weren't willing to like just you know, weed through the suspects. I don't see the difference.
It's bizarre.
How many suspects there are. There's just, okay, well then you've got your work to do and get your work done. Like, it's not about, oh, well, that's just too many, we can't deal with that. Like, because she was social and she had plenty of people that were in her life. What's the difference?
And it's no one wants this. No one would want to bring this on themselves.
No.
Like, she was, as you said, she was just a social woman.
She lived a fulfilling life. Good on her.
Who gives, like, okay, it's there's an ethical or moral question about dating known married men.
Yeah.
But that's not
That
for
doesn't
judgment.
mean you don't,
You
do
deserve
the best
to die. Or
find
deserve to be murdered.
But for a daughter then,
That's
how
right.
can they just, it's
But then
just,
one of the articles, or no, it wasn't even an article. It might have even been on Reddit. Fucking hell. But, people were saying, well, maybe if she hadn't have been promiscuous, that maybe that wouldn't have invited, or they wouldn't have seen Shawna. And then, but I'm like, no, this is not
you can't
Margaret's
live under a
fault.
rock to,
but also, this is not Margaret's fault. She didn't do this.
Do you know what? If there's people like that, then they just shouldn't exist.
It's 100%.
That's
it really fucking pisses me off.
We
This
should
is
be
not
able to
her fault.
freely live and
Yeah.
do our lives without the threat of someone being murdered
That's
or
right.
raped or,
That's right.
Nah, fuck it.
So let's have a chat about
Yeah.
potential suspects
Yeah.
then.
Cool.
So the first suspect that I want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
is the doctor who bought her the house,
Okay, yes, Dr. Bradkey.
Dr. Bradkey.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bradkey was a married man and he had a family and so Margaret worked at the William Angliss Hospital and he was an obstetrician there.
Yep.
And they obviously met at work and started a relationship. And according to Margaret's best girlfriends, her confidants, she loved him.
Yeah.
She wanted
I think she was a little bit obsessed with him.
the works with him.
Yeah.
She wanted everything with him. And he must have felt similarly because he bought her that house in Kelvin Drive in Ferntree Gully.
While still married. He's married a man the whole time. He made the choice. He bought her a house.
He bought her a house.
Yeah.
Now, I guess somewhat tragically, or no, definitely tragically,
Yeah.
he was actually racing from where had he been? I can't actually remember where he'd been, but he was going from somewhere back to the Angliss Hospital one night to deliver a baby.
So the William Angliss Hospital is the hospital in Upper Ferntree Gully, so it's not far from where they live, very close by, like their local hospital. Yeah.
So he was actually coming down the mountain, coming from the Dandenongs into the gully to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he lost control of his car and crushed it and he died on the way to deliver this baby. So in the fallout of all of that,
Yeah.
this was before Margaret's and Shawna's murder, by the way.
Yes. This was a year before, 2
I
years
think
before.
about 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
In the fallout of all of that, his wife has then discovered that he owned this property.
Did she already know? Oh, she knew there was the affair. She knew about the affair, but she didn't know about the property in that?
No, she didn't know about the property.
Yeah.
And so anyway, there ended up being a bit of a legal battle because Margaret was like, well, he bought this for me.
Well, no, Margaret actually was under the impression, or what she put into the court documents was that in his will, he had left that house to her. However, in the wills that were being presented, that was not included in it.
Well, had he left her half the house or something?
No. So according to her, she was being left that house.
Right.
But the wife, what Margaret accused was that his wife destroyed that document and that will.
Oh.
Okay. And so in the court battle of it, the judge ended up ruling that she had a claim. And so what he awarded was half of it, not full.
Yeah, okay.
Because of there being, two parties having two different versions of events.
Yeah, okay.
He awarded her half of the house.
Right.
And then Margaret bought out the other half.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she paid out his widow for the other half of the house.
Yeah. So, that's how that went.
Right, okay. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously had to go to court over that.
So, there was quite a nasty court battle between the two of them.
Can you imagine how horrible that would be as his wife?
Absolutely. I can see, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
I'd be furious.
Not only has your husband died in very tragic circumstances.
Yeah. But then to go and potentially jeopardize her financial future by doing that too. I can understand why she battled that out. Totally.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So one of the suspects in this case then is the wife.
Yeah, Kay Bradkey.
Yeah. And what was, I guess, the suspicion was, or I guess somebody's theory was, that she'd hired a hitman to murder Margaret. Now, look, to me that seems really far-fetched. And the matter was resolved in that Margaret had already bought her out by this point. It had been settled. It had been a couple of years and things were kind of like very, very settled.
Well, that and like, it was a pretty bizarre situation. Have you heard this story around how obsessed I think Margaret was with him?
Go on.
So there was a point where they were obviously together and she absolutely got really fixated on that. She was like, no, you need to leave your wife, right? Margaret rocked up to their house yelling, saying, you need to come and live with me, you know, like, and leave your wife. She threw a rock through the window and then stripped naked on the lawn to like get his attention to like, you know, come and live with her and leave his family. He then, Dr. Bradkey obviously then like had to lock his child, his and wife in a back room and said to them, you stay there, I'll go sort her out and take her home. And he had to go and drove her home and drop her off. And I mean, how about being their neighbour?
It's interesting. Yeah, apparently she like lay down in the bushes or something so he couldn't get her.
Yeah.
But also, did you see it like in that same report? I think we've probably both heard the same thing. She also keyed his car. He had this brand new red sports car, a Datsun or something. And she got really angry with him one day, so she keyed all the way down the side of it. I mean, I don't like that.
No, that's
destructive for no reason.
There's a consistent amount of kind of similar behaviour in her, and people have commented that she could treat men pretty shit when she wanted to as well. Like, and
she was pretty sparky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiery redhead was sort of mentioned quite a few times in the stuff I was reading about it. It's like, yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Good on it. Okay. Next suspect, should we go into, who should we do next? Should we do Ian Cook?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, actually, let's do Tony Blackwell first, the brother-in-law.
Oh,
so
yeah.
On the day that the bodies were discovered, during the day that day, Margaret's sister's boyfriend went to the house. Now, I could not find anywhere why he went.
It's not in the police reports. It's nowhere. No one knows why he was there, but he was there.
So he rocks up. He sees that Margaret's car's in the driveway. The newspaper was on the lawn at this point.
I think contextually that time though too, I can say, because I grew up, I guess, more in that time.
Yeah, you
if
did.
you drove past someone's house that you knew and their car was in the driveway, you'd not go and knock on the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a little bit more that way, I guess. So I can come at it from an angle of these days you wouldn't do that. Like, I don't know. It's just not like that.
No, you always text someone so they've got time to at least, I don't know, shovel their shit under the couch or something or in a cupboard.
Absolutely. Yeah, but no, definitely. You just, if you drove past someone's house and their car was in the driveway, you'd knock on the door. Hey, have a chat, have a coffee. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was eventually eliminated, so it probably was fairly innocent.
Yeah.
But he's picked up the newspaper and put it on the porch, knocked on the window, and he's like, I knew they were there because the curtains were drawn, but he was like, I just assumed they were sick or sleeping in or whatever,
in and unwell or something.
So he just left.
Yeah.
Not thinking anything more of it. Mm-hmm. So he was also eliminated, ruled out.
Yeah. So that was why when Jim arrived, Jim Rollins, that he's found the newspaper had been, like, obviously was on the doorstep, not on the driveway.
Yeah.
So that cleared that up for the police of that occurring. So we've got it's all aligning.
It is all aligning. We've also got then Ian Cook. Mm-hmm. Now this guy's interesting. Mm-hmm. Is he your front runner?
I don't want to say front runner, but I want to say potentially involved.
Okay. He was my front runner
Yep.
until I have now developed a very solid theory. So I actually don't think he had anything to do with it, although I don't think he's completely innocent.
No, that's more probably where my head's at with him. Yeah.
So Ian Cook was a very recently retired police officer.
Yes.
Now, when I say retired, he was medically discharged from the
police. What they call boarded out.
Yeah.
So this was a term they used to use back in the day. I kind of feel like sometimes we should bring these sorts of things back, but it was a way of getting people out of the force, potentially. I mean, potentially people were medically legitimately discharged. I mean, get injured in the line of duty, you know, that's completely fair. But this was a term that they could use to basically go, we need to get you out. But obviously if we tell you you're sacked, then that looks bad on you. We can keep this all quiet and board you out.
And basically that meant they were still entitled to their police pension.
Yeah,
and
get all the benefits of if you're retiring, that kind of situation, or medically discharged from it. But not the label of it,
That's
that you're
it.
being fired and sacked.
So he was in his early 50s. I think he was like 54 at the time when this happened. And this boarding out had only very recently happened. Now, he did have a connection to Margaret in that he was part of the same Masonic lodge that Margaret's dad belonged to. And a lot of police officers at the time were Masons and were Freemasons. And especially homicide detectives. So it was a very intertwined and linked sort of network of people. And this Ian Cook, who wasn't actually a detective or anything, I think he was just a senior constable. He was a general duties police officer. But because he was a Mason, he'd met a lot of these homicide cops and whatever. So back when we were just talking before about the police, the night of the murder, cordoning it off and popping a couple of uniformed police officers there, he actually rocked up to the scene, this Ian Cook, and he was like, oh, well, I actually left a book inside. I'm just going to go in. Showed him his badge. Which was not valid anymore.
Surely he should have had it with him.
I don't know if they'd take them away.
I know cops do keep them.
Yeah. But it's not valid. Like, he should not have done that. He wasn't a serving police officer
that would be illegal in that he falsely represented himself.
For sure. So he's gone in because he said he lent Margaret a book.
Didn't want to get wrapped up in this.
Yeah, he didn't want to have to go into an inquest or anything.
Yeah, just
because what would be the point in that? I've got nothing to do with it. He's gone in there. Now, the inference is that he's gone in there to pop his fingerprints everywhere and have a legitimate reason for doing so.
And so if his fingerprints were found somewhere,
he'd be like, oh, yeah, well, that's because I go there all the time. I went to pick up my book.
Went to go get my book. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's really sus.
I find that sus, and there's other aspects of him that are very unusual. And I mean, look, we don't know whether he was boarded out correctly and that
for
a reason or whether there was a dodgy reason as to why. No, that is not known. But what an odd, I just find that, I mean, that would never happen today.
Oh, never.
That they would cross that line of a crime scene. Very much.
Well, there'd be at least a record of who'd been in and out and all of that. Nothing like that was taken at the time.
No. Or, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
No.
And this poor uniformed police officer wouldn't have known any different probably.
Well, he would have looked to them as a 54-year-old man. Oh, he's more senior than me. You know, like, oh, he's got the badge. Oh, just
better let him in.
Do what he do. Yeah. No. Oh, God.
No way. That would never happen to this day.
Yeah.
Okay. Who have we got next?
What about the driving instructor?
Oh, yeah. The truck driver?
The
truck driving instructor?
Yeah. So he's an interesting character. Do you know his name? I couldn't find his name anywhere.
No, actually, I don't think his name is known. So most of the people who we're naming by name, it's because either they've been cleared and the names are out there, or because they're since deceased.
Yes.
So Ian Cook is deceased.
So
that's why we can name him because he still hasn't been eliminated as a suspect.
No. So the truck driver who was teaching Margaret how to drive, apparently he had put some pretty hard word on her and very much unwanted by Margaret, but she continued to want her driving lessons. He was offering her driving lessons with for free because he was very keen, and so she was like, well, I'll take the free driving lessons, which was what we're talking about. Like, she wasn't shy in terms of like going, oh, well, I don't want to give him any ideas, so I'll back off and not take my free driving lessons. She's like, fuck that, I'm taking the free driving lessons. He can think what he wants. I love that about her. So yeah, she was doing that, but he was married. Now, when he was interviewed with his wife in the same room, bizarre, and of course he's not going to be honest about his thoughts of her, and so I query that because he's then been ruled out in terms of this. Or no, sorry, he hasn't been ruled out because he in his interview said to the police that he's never been in the house at all. Now, his fingerprints were found inside that house, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's probably worth noting at this point as well that back in the day, back in 1984, DNA was not a thing.
No.
So a lot of the investigations surrounded fingerprints. DNA samples were collected.
Yeah, there was some hairs that were found, and obviously the semen found on her nightgown and things like that.
It wasn't like there was a huge amount of other forensic evidence collected. It was mostly just fingerprints.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he lied about being in her house, but then, as you said, his wife was there. So,
Yeah.
of course, I feel like,
why
of course
on
he was
earth
gonna
wouldn't you
lie.
take him down to the station and have a proper conversation with the bloke?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been easily ruled out because he could have said, oh, yeah, no, I used to go and have coffee because I was pretty keen on her and I was trying to, but I mean, never went anywhere. Whatever. Say what he needs to say and be honest so they can rule him out rather than sitting in front of his wife going, no, I've never been in their house. No.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a bit
that's stupid on their behalf to me. Yeah.
weird. Another suspect was a work colleague of Margaret's brother. Mm-hmm. So they actually worked for the Knox City Council in, what did they do? I think they did maybe hard rubbish collection or something like
maintenance
that.
Or something like that.
It was maintenance because so this bloke who worked with Margaret's brother was a known criminal. Mm-hmm. He'd done bad things in the past and then subsequently was after this was fired from his council job because he would go around and knock fire hydrants over with the truck only to then be called out to repair them after hours. So he'd get heaps of
after
cash.
hours money.
Yeah.
Oh, what? So, council being dodgy.
Council workers, what? No shade to all the council workers who do the right thing. So, but this guy did have a criminal history. He had helped Margaret's brother move furniture into Margaret's house, so he knew the layout of the house. He knew that she lived there with Shawna.
The one thing that the police did sort of find that was that obviously the front door was locked. Now, so they did think that this person had to be either well known to Margaret or known to the house because whoever entered went through that back door where they knew that lock was broken.
Yeah, and there was no sign of struggle inside
the
house. So they believe Margaret and Shawna were in bed asleep when the attack happened, but no other signs of struggle within the house. So, yeah, I think whoever did this absolutely must have known that the back door was broken because there was no other signs of forced entry or anything like that.
So that's why how he became a suspect in that he knew the house and potentially then obviously knew that the back door was broken.
Yeah.
Interesting to note in terms of her brother Lindsay, he has vocally said that he has not been ruled out. He's never been questioned by police.
His DNA's never been taken.
Never been taken. So he is a bit frustrated by that with the police that he feels
if they haven't even taken Margaret's brother or Shawna's uncle's DNA to compare that to the semen that was found today.
Yeah.
I'm talking 2025, you could actually be going through and getting before all these people die. Go and get the samples.
He just feels like, I mean, he's, innocent and he's like, I'm here to be, DNA tested and I wouldn't be if I was, guilty, but why wouldn't you do that to rule me out for 100%?
Yeah.
Because then you're getting that pool of people smaller of who you're looking at because at the moment, if they're not looking at me, like he sort of said, if you're not looking at me and getting me eliminated, who else are you not looking at and eliminating?
Well, this is the thing.
Potentially there's lots of people that haven't been looked into enough.
I think that's 100%.
And I think even the lists that we've got haven't been looked into close enough, as we just said, with not interviewing a guy without his wife present.
Yeah. There's so many failings
things
in this.
Yeah.
So the next suspects, I suppose, and again, that none of these men have been eliminated, and there's some really suspect things that have happened since, is neighbours.
Yes.
So at the very end of Kelvin Drive, where Kelvin Drive meets Ferntree Gully Road on the corner.
Burwood Highway.
Oh, Burwood Highway, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 or 4 houses away from Margaret and Shawna.
Yeah.
There lived a family who had lots of boys. And when I say boys, they were aged, I think, between about 14 and 24. And also living on that property in a caravan was the sister's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Now, the youngest of those boys used to mow Margaret's lawn for her and tinker with her car if it needed oil change or something.
Yeah.
And he was a weird kid, like a very odd child. And so the other brothers, they were all a bit rough, this family, so the rough family on the street. And they'd been involved in petty crimes and that kind of thing. And this youngest boy was very, very odd, and he was almost obsessed with Margaret.
Yeah, vocally spoken to many people on the street of what he thought of Margaret.
And he knew everything about her movements and what she did and where she went and who she was with. Like, he was almost obsessed by her. So, but again, the police haven't ever eliminated any of them. And the thing of note now is that the boyfriend of the sister who lived in the caravan on that property, he has since been charged with rape offences against children.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So that was in the subsequent years to Shawna and Margaret's murder. But to me, that's like a no-brainer. You fucking go and figure that out.
Absolutely.
Go and DNA test him.
Yes.
Like, what is going on? I mean, I'm assuming they'd have his DNA from the other rape charges.
Well, now, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. Well, apparently the sample they got of the semen is not a good enough sample that they can eliminate by putting it into the database.
Yeah.
But it's apparently good enough that they could, if they got a fresh sample, they could, I don't know, I didn't really understand that they apparently can, because obviously there's been some DNA evidence that's come up in this that they have linked people to.
Yeah.
That apparently it's good enough to do some sort of testing with for that, but not good enough to go into a database.
Right. Well, maybe they don't have enough of the profile or something.
That's, not enough of the profile. That's what it was.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Which I don't fully understand. That's your domain a little bit more.
I haven't read about that, so I'm not going to comment on it. But that kind of makes sense.
That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so they haven't eliminated all those sorts of people I think they're definitely worth being looked into.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
I'm tipping the one you're avoiding is the one that you're thinking is your front runner.
Do you have any others you want to talk about?
Not other than the 2008, but we can get to that.
We can get to that.
Yeah.
So, interesting. This one came about because this was an Andrew Ruhl find. Okay. So, because Andrew Ruhl is so well connected, he'd gone over to Western Australia to do a story on something or other. And while he was there, he met a journalist. He was doing a report with a journalist who had previously lived in Melbourne. And he said to Andrew, my brother-in-law is a cop and he's got a theory on what happened with the Tapps. Do you know about this person? And gave him a name. We're going to call him Dr. X.
Yep.
So, and Andrew was like, oh, no, I actually haven't even heard that name in relation to this story. Now, mind you, at this stage, he'd done this massive story at the 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And he's like, that name it's not in any of the documentation. I have not heard that from any of the witnesses that I've interviewed, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But when Andrew went back and looked through the archives, now he had to do this manually, I believe, because they weren't digitized. What he found was an entry. It was actually a birth notice of a girl, a baby that was born on the 29th of December in, I think it was 1979. Okay. So years before the murder, about 5 years before the murder. And it was Dr. Bradkey and Dr. X have delivered baby whatever into the world, and it was a birth notice for that baby.
Yep.
Thank you to all the staff at William Angliss and blah, 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 blah. This was the only piece of evidence that Andrew could find that linked the two doctors.
Well, linked to Margaret.
And then Margaret.
Yeah.
So he has then gone, okay, I'm going to investigate this a little bit further, because from what the journalist in Western Australia had told Andrew, this Dr. X had actually come up against some very serious charges later, well and truly after Margaret and Shawna's murder.
Yeah.
So he's gone and started looking into this. And what he found is extraordinary. This man, Dr. X, owned a property in Ferntree Gully.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. He was a very avid tennis player. And back in the 80s, what did everyone wear when they played tennis? Dunlop volley tennis shoes.
Yeah.
One of the pieces of evidence at the
Crime scene
were perfect imprints of a size 11 Dunlop volley tennis shoe, and the imprints were made with ontakar, or the clay that is used on tennis courts.
Yep.
And he had a private tennis court at home that was ontakar, and he also played at Ferny Creek Tennis Club, which was also ontakar.
Yeah.
And he had size 11 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of this is like, oh my God, you know, this is all adding up. Now, no one is saying that this man is the man who did it. It's just there's a lot of evidence to go towards this, and he has never been interviewed or eliminated. So Andrew was able to track down this man's son, and his son hates him, absolutely hates him. And he found out that that's because he had actually been convicted of pedophilia.
Yeah.
And this was, I think the youngest girl was 6 years of age.
Yuck.
He also raped older women as well, like women.
I think his age range was somewhere between 6 and 29. I think was sort of, he kind of bounced between like older but not that old, like kind of women. He didn't go,
So he had such a reputation in Ferntree Gully. He was a GP/obstetrician. So he'd deliver at the Angus, but he also had a GP practice. He had such a reputation that women would not go and see him alone. They would always take their husband or their friend or somebody to go with him.
Yeah.
You just can't even imagine it. When the charges were brought against him for the rapes and like the pedophilic behaviour, he actually moved to a clinic in St Kilda pending charges and trial and all of that. And I believe there were victims there as well.
Oh, God, what a shit.
He has then moved to a border town. So I don't know exactly where he lives to this day. As a known sex offender, he is now living between a primary school and a skate park in this border town. Andrew Ruhl says that he has been there. He has spoken to the neighbours and spoken to the people in this town, and everybody knows who he is and what he's done, and they keep a very close eye on him.
He reckons that if anyone saw him anywhere near a child, he'd end up in the Murray.
Yeah. Well, fucking he deserves it.
Yeah.
So he's my front runner. He's my I think they at the very least need to eliminate him. He's still alive.
Yeah.
They need to at least eliminate him.
Yeah.
But he has never been questioned. We know he knew Margaret. We know they worked together.
They worked together.
We know that he socialised with Dr. Bradkey. They probably went out socially. And if he was a pedophile, he would have seen Shawna.
Yes. Yep.
Like they would have gone to Margaret's house, picked her up, whatever.
Yep.
What the fuck? Like, to me, this is a no-brainer that this absolutely needs to be thoroughly investigated.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more to go into him. He's clearly a front runner that needs to be looked into.
To me, I just think there's so many. The Dunlop volley shoe imprints, just all of it. He needs to be looked at.
Absolutely. My only thing with this now is that our favourite, Ron Iddles. So he's a Melbourne detective. He's retired now, but in 2014, as he was heading up the cold case squad, he was handed this case to have a look at. And I trust Ron.
Yeah.
And I dare say he would have looked at every angle of this. He did also give it to students at the Detective Academy to look at and bring to him anything they thought needed to be looked into further. And there still is nothing more. So I feel like if he has ruled it, he's not ruled it out. He's not been eliminated, but surely he would have pulled him in and had a conversation with him.
The other thing that I find really interesting, so Shawna went to Wattleview Primary School.
Yep.
I don't believe they looked at any of the staff there.
I know the students there were gung-ho at trying to find them.
Yeah.
A lot of them have sort of got a bit of PTSD from this,
fair enough.
Absolutely they'd be traumatised from hearing their classmate went through this. But I can just imagine back in the day all of them getting on their bikes and starting up a sleuth crew and trying to find the clues, and because they wanted to know who had hurt their friend. That's awful. So
she was a brownie too.
Yeah,
and I mean,
again, another place where there could be some interesting people around,
especially back in the day. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the 2008?
Yeah.
arrest?
So in 2008, they did actually arrest someone for this, which was super exciting, particularly for, Margaret and Shawna's family, thinking that they might have an answer for this. So they arrested a man by the name of, I'm going to get his surname botched, Russell Gassar.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Excellent. They arrested him, and they arrested him based on DNA. That his DNA did connect him to the DNA that was found on Shawna's nightgown. But very quickly after him being arrested, they had to drop the charges. He has not been cleared, I'll say that, but they have dropped the charges due to the fact that the DNA was contaminated. So apparently what has occurred was that his DNA was being tested for something in the same lab where the stuff for Shawna and Margaret was being tested, and they think there was cross-contamination that created that.
Yeah, so apparently the night dress had been on the same table or same workbench as his DNA sample, and it hadn't been cleaned in between.
Yeah, right.
And so the laboratory pretty quickly figured out that they couldn't actually say definitively that it was his DNA that was found on the night dress. So they had to let him go. But as you said, they've never arrested him again over this, but they certainly haven't eliminated him either.
There was other evidence that they haven't released to the public by any means, that they had him, potentially linked to this, but not as extensively as the DNA.
Yeah.
So, this was kind of in 2008, this sort of became a bit of a split in terms of how DNA was being viewed, because previous to this, pretty much if there was DNA, you were done. Whereas now the way DNA is kind of viewed is that DNA is one thing, but you need to have it line up with other things as well. You can't just have a case based solely on DNA. Yeah. So I think the other bits of evidence they had on him were not enough to stand on their own with dropping the DNA, but potentially with the DNA and these other little bits that they could link him to the scene was obviously more than they were happy to arrest him and charge him. Yeah. But without that DNA then as well, they were like, oh, no, we haven't got enough of a case here. Yeah. But not enough to say we're going to rule him out either. So, yeah, I think that would have been such a roller coaster for the family, for obviously Margaret's parents and siblings who would have thought that they were actually getting an answer here. As well as Don Tapp. So it's awful that occurred, I think, for them to get their hopes up that they'd found someone, and then unfortunately. Yes.
In 2015, investigators reopened the cold case, and now there is a $1 million reward out for information leading to an arrest in this case. Yeah. So I think that's a really good thing, and I feel like, so much time has gone past now. What are we? It's 40-odd years later. Yeah. And, I really hope that financial reward will potentially lead to something. It's been a long time. It's been 10 years since that was announced, but the offer is still up. Yeah. The reward is still available.
And when I say earlier in this episode that surely someone knows something, but that's where I think I worry that if it is that guy, the Dr. X that we talked about, and if he's living this kind of isolated lifestyle, on the border town, maybe he is someone who won't talk to someone, won't have let it slip what he's done. Because it sounds like he's impacted many young people's lives and then into their futures. Yep. So this is almost nothing to him, which is just gross if that's the case. Yeah. But I guess he hasn't murdered again.
Well, that we know of.
He's not been linked to any other murders.
No.
But, yeah, an interesting one. And I still don't rule out, obviously, again, the police officer, Ian Cook.
Same, yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, if there was something dodgy about him in general, then is there a world that he was a part of a bit of this sort of stuff going on?
Why did he turn up to the crime scene the day that they died? And there's a few very big questions there.
Really awful. I find this a bit weird in that, so the funeral for Margaret and Shawna, Ian Cook was in the family car on that day. That is
so fucking bizarre. He was in the morning car. And Margaret's sister was like, what is he doing here? Because they all hated really him. Creepy. Yeah. They didn't like him.
No. I find that really odd. And I just feel like then it makes him look more interesting in this.
Agreed.
So that's when I sort of go like, okay, I'm not ruling out that Dr. X is maybe the perpetrator here, but potentially he had a cop mate who was covering things up for him in the area.
Yep.
And if he was a local-ish person that was doing that for him, did he do that in this example and like rock up that crime scene to remove something that would have directly linked Dr. X to this scene?
Yeah.
So it makes so many question marks over it.
I know. There's so many things like that out there.
The other one that I think is what's not helped this is less publicity at the time of this incident occurring. If it was more publicised.
Yeah, we alluded to this earlier. So
yeah.
I believe from what I can gather that Margaret's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson, didn't really want the information out there. I think because of the rhetoric that was going around that Margaret was this promiscuous woman, and that was the cause of, if it wasn't for that, then these two women, this mother and child wouldn't be dead. Incorrect. But I think they were a little bit embarrassed and didn't really want the information out there. They most certainly weren't appealing to the media or to the public for any information. They didn't do any interviews. They did not want any bar of the publicity of it.
Which meant that then there was no story to run, because there was no one to talk to.
They wouldn't provide photos or information on Margaret or Shawna's, life to that point, which is where, people start to develop an interest in the story when you get to know that this was a person and this is what this person did and how amazing they were.
Yeah.
Which Margaret did sound like an amazing person. And Shawna, she was involved in everything.
Yeah.
She was such a
bright
gorgeous,
little girl
bright little thing.
Yeah.
But nobody really knew that about them until Andrew Ruhl went digging 20 years later.
Absolutely.
So the other real tragedy in this story is what happened to Justin.
We talk about that ripple effect every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
And it is untold, because as we go through this, you'll get to see more people who've been affected by this tragedy. So Justin went over to live in the UK. So he actually had dual citizenship because John Tapp was from the UK.
Yeah.
So he decided, I can understand this. He
Absolutely.
needed to get away. And I think as soon as he was 18, he moved over to England. He had a very, very serious alcohol problem.
Yeah.
Now, again, I can understand it. I don't know whether he had any psychological intervention after this. I don't know what that side of his life looked like. But when he was over there, he met a woman and they established a very solid and strong relationship. But she said, I think her name was Michelle.
I think you might be right.
And she said that she loved him deeply and he loved her deeply. And she said he was the loveliest man she'd ever met.
Yeah, she spoke so beautifully of him.
But she said, we just couldn't. So she had his daughter from a previous relationship.
Yeah.
She said, I just couldn't expose my daughter to that anymore because he would drink himself silly every day. Apparently, from the time Shawna and Margaret were murdered, he never slept a full night.
God.
And so he would drink himself into a slumber, I suppose, in order to just get rest.
Yeah.
And anyway, it eventuated that they sort of broke up and he went to live on his own, rented an apartment not very far from Michelle and her daughter, and they were still in fairly regular contact. And at this particular time, Michelle was like, I haven't heard from him in a week or so. I better go over and check. She tried calling. He wasn't answering. She said she went to his, this is awful, but she went to his door and there were flies hanging around the door and a really, really bad smell.
Yeah.
And she got the person who owned the flats to open the door and they found his very, very decomposed body.
To the point where they couldn't actually get any, they couldn't tell what the cause of death was.
Yeah, they didn't know whether he'd accidentally died of alcohol poisoning or whether he'd done something to take his own life. It was just not evident because of how decomposed his body was.
Yeah.
So, and as you say now, Michelle and her daughter are living with that tragedy and that horrible thing that had happened to this very significant person in their life. And this is because of what happened to the person, the person who murdered Shawna and Margaret. Yeah. They're responsible for Justin's death.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because he really, really beat himself up over the fact that as a 14-year-old boy, he thought that if he was home this wouldn't have happened.
You know what? I think that's probably true.
I do, which is awful to say because you would hate for him to take that on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like maybe a boy of that age, if he was in that home, someone would have, had a second thought of, going in there because that's another person to, deal with. Just awful for him to think like that though, that he is at fault. He's not at fault. Yeah, maybe it could have changed outcomes, but it's not his fault. It's just awful that he very much took that on, according to Michelle, that was what got to him the biggest, that he could have, that it was his fault. And it wasn't.
No, not
that's
at
the person who
all.
did this. That's their fault.
Yeah.
And little things in time, sliding doors moments, things like that, you can't change those. They're, things that are just life. But there is just, endless amounts of people who are impacted by this. I mean, even Jim Rollins has spoken about his, the fact that he found them and the effect that's had on him, because he genuinely felt strongly for Margaret anyway, but just to even find people in that state, that's really impacted his life as well. It's just endless, the amount of people impacted with these events.
Yeah.
Whoever this massive piece of shit is, I hope one day we know who it is and we can name them and shame them. That's for damn sure.
And also that they get what they deserve. I mean, it's been
unfortunately
41 years now.
Yeah,
a lot of times gone past that a guilty person has been out, probably that we know of, out in society.
Yeah,
I can only hope for the remaining family members and people who loved these two women and Justin.
Yeah.
That the perpetrator is found and brought to justice.
For sure. That is for sure.
I just wanted to read a quote that Andrew Ruhl wrote in his latest article on this case.
Yeah.
After more than 40 years, a murdered mother and her two dead children deserve better.
So true. Plain and simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, yeah. Well, if anyone knows anything, contact Crime Stoppers.
Yep.
That is for sure. We could solve this one and you could get $1 million for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, the reward's still out there. So do it. Do it. All right.
Oh, wow.
What are we going into for next week?
Next week, we are going to be looking into the Pettingills.
Oh, my God.
Oh, if you know, you know.
Oh, my God.
If you haven't heard of this family,
I feel like this is going to be a very research-heavy week.
it is actually, definitely. Yeah, because I feel like I know a lot.
Yeah.
But I reckon I'm only touching the surface.
Oh, I reckon, there's a lot there.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting people.
God, yeah. What? Yep.
Cool.
And
All right.
join us for that.
Please do. Again, if you'd like to support us, you can do so on patreon.com/2crimebesties, over at buymeacoffee.com/2crimebesties. Please like and comment. Oh, actually, one of the things I did want to say, when I was looking at our stats, I know that a lot of people listen who aren't actually following us. So if you could just it's really great if you can just hit that follow button.
Yeah.
It really, really, really helps us. If everybody who listens hits that button, we're going gangbusters.
Absolutely.
So that'd be really helpful. Thank you very much. We look forward to bringing you another episode next week.
Absolutely. Stay curious, Crime Besties.
Bye.